Hey, welcome back to the channel. Will Mosby here, and I've got a guest with me on this video because really this project that we did here in the house came out of your need. This is my wife, Stephanie. Not really a guest at all. But you want to talk to him about what the idea was?
Sure. So we built this house a couple of years ago, and we have a big, nice drawer or cabinet for pots and pans. But the builder really didn't put anything in there, so there's tons of space that wasn't really being utilized. So I asked my husband if he could do some nice pull-out drawers so you can use the bottom and the top, because we did have like a small wire shelf in there, but it's still really hard to get to, you know, especially big, heavy pots and pans all the way in the back. Yeah. So if you can pull it all the way out.
Especially for me, because I'm 6'5", you're 5'3", obviously, right, on camera here, but which makes it very difficult, even for 5'3", to get into like pots and pans and skillets and stuff, because I don't do any cooking.
I do lots and lots of cooking.
Yeah, she loves to cook.
So I've seen other people, my mom, my daughter, both have nice big giant pull-out drawers in their cabinet, so that's what we asked for. So
in this video, what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is to show you step by step how I built these little pull-out soft close shelves or drawers to take up space for our pots and pans and to kind of organize things a little bit better. Sound good? Let's get right into it.
All right, so the first thing that we want to do is measure our space, and we're going to pay close attention to the actual depth of the cabinet, because that's going to determine the actual slide that we have to place an order for. In my case, I'm going to have to get a 22-inch soft close slide. I'll leave a link to the slide in the description. So we're going to take apart the slide, flip it over, and you're going to see this little black lever. Just push that down, and now you can remove the piece that's actually going to connect to the side of the drawer. And all we're going to do is just lay it on the side piece, or what's going to be the side piece, and just measure where we want it to be. And then we're going to just use our speed square, draw our line, and that's where we can make all of our cuts. A little quick tip, you want to make sure that the front of the slide is at the very front of the side piece. So since I'm making 2 drawers, I'm going to need 4 sides, both left and right sides. Next, you're just going to mark where you want the slide to be. This is actually going to end up being the top drawer, so I'm marking it right in the center. The other one's going to be marked just a little bit below that. You'll see. Once I get the front edge aligned, I'm just going to mark where my pilot holes are going to be drilled. This may be obvious, but do not drill all the way through the side piece unless you want a hole to show through. I actually found it easier to just use a screwdriver when mounting the hardware. I really just wanted to prevent stripping that Phillips head screw. Now we're just going to repeat the process for the other 3 sides. Now I'm just going to slide it back with the female end, that's what I'm calling it, and just see how it works together. Looks like we're just fine. So we're going to move on. Yeah, I'm pointing out one more time to be sure that you are flush with the end. And this is where that's going to matter when you go to mount this piece inside the cabinet. See that little block in the back? I had to actually put that in. That's a 3/4 inch piece of blocking that I had to put in so I could mount to it, so that way we would be flush with the front. And there we are with one of the sides. Everything's working just fine. So now we're going to do the other one. Once you have both sides in, now you can measure for your front and rear pieces. Get that measurement, and that's what we're cutting. We're cutting the front and the rear. Here I'm just dry fitting just to make sure that we are good, and we are. So now we can proceed on. This is what I came up with. I'm about to make my first cut into one of the front or back boards. This is going to be actually one of the fronts. This is one of the fronts. This is going to be where the dado is. That's going to hold the supporting bottom board for the shelf, or for the drawer, basically. And what I've got set up here is stops on each end. That's going to hold my board in place. And then we have, basically I've set up a fence with a couple of clamps. And I've already done a test here, so you can actually see the little groove that's cut out. That's where I can actually start and just start going down. And so my lines line up. You can actually see that my lines line up. And I know from the practice run that I'm 2 5/8 inch from the fence to the cut line. And that's how I've got it set up. We're all clamped down, ready to make my first pass. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've also got my router set up to be right at about a 1/4 inch in depth. And that's all the distance, all the depth that I need to hold that board. All right, so now we're just going to make our pocket holes so we can put our pocket hole screws in there and piece everything together. You might notice the little orange clamp there. That's a pony clamp that holds things at 90 degrees. I got that for Father's Day, and my wife got that for me, and it was a huge help at being able to put everything in at exact 90 and hold things together. Once you get one screw in, you can remove the clamp and put the other screw in. So now that we have the front board in place, it's time to work on the rear board. And you notice I am marking where my dado is, because I want to come back and we're going to cut off that piece. And that's going to leave room for the shelf so it can slide in, the bottom of the shelf so it can slide in. Yeah, if we're going to be picky, I probably should have flipped the board over and put the pocket holes on the outside so you wouldn't see them. Now I'm just cutting the bottom of the drawer, which is just a little piece made out of MDF. And we're just going to slide this piece right in, tighten it up, and we're looking good. So now I'm just going to secure that bottom piece using just a few brad nails. All right, so now that the shelf is made, let's walk it inside and give it a test. All right, all looks good with this one. Now we can go ahead and continue and make the second drawer.
Okay guys, so here's the finished product. We have two nice big deep drawers. I told Will I wanted this one tall enough where my really tall pots can fit in here. I could double stack them, which is really nice. And then they're soft close. And here's the top one. I put all my skillets in there. But you can see you can use a ton more space than just your standard cabinet.
Yeah, it came out good. I will say on the top one, where's my finger at? There we go. On the top one, it's a little bit tight. And so my recommendation on this one, now the boards that I used was kind of yellow pine, which are a little bit softer. They bend really easy. And so I would say if you're really going to get critical with it, I would probably use plywood, higher grade, but I just didn't do it for this project. So I think that top shelf, the bottom one came out really good. It's real easy to open, real easy to close. The top one's a little bit tighter, just because I think it had a little bit of warp to it whenever I built it, and it might have been just a hair, so wider. So I probably would have gone with just a slightly narrower front, and that would have helped it out. It seems like these slides that are in here, they need just a little bit of a gap, so they'll slide real nice and easy.
That's it.
That's it.
Happy customer.
Are you gonna be a part of the video, bud?
Except for he's so short, you can't
He's
see
so
him.
short.
No, can't see him.
Tucker's right there.
There he is.
Go on, no, go over there, bud. Okay.